I see some naturals out there, and they're doing everything wrong, like everything wrong, and they're still successful. You're like, how does that work? Because they have a few key composite things that work. They're confident, they have a strong frame, they're unreactive. You can make all kinds of DOVs and mistakes if you've got some things like that. But if you guys want to develop them, that road is paved through hitting 20 to 30 sets. There's just no shortcut. Unless you are extremely naturally talented, there's no shortcut. You got to do those things. Overarching principle, risk aversion. If you guys look inside and you say, I am afraid of risk, then get over that. I don't care if it's through a coach or through a gun to your head. Get over it. Get over that risk aversion. Because in pickup, the risk is almost always mitigated. Think about the risk that you guys are afraid of when you're out there. Is it a real risk? Or is it all up here? Are there actual consequences to when this happens? To when things screw up? What are you really afraid of? That's what you got to ask yourself. And what you'll find is that it's all in your head. There are no real consequences. Even things that seem real, like, oh, the guy's going to fight me, that doesn't happen. 7 years of cold approaching, you'd think I would be getting into fights all the time. Especially because guys look at me and they're like, I could fight him. I don't have to be afraid. Never happened. It's really hard to get into fights. You have to do something really bad to get into fights. You have to try. If you don't try to do it, it's really hard. Trust me, I've even tried, and even then, it's half the time it's hard. It's hard to get into fights. All of these fears you guys have are illusions. You've got to recognize those for what they are. Risk aversion is huge. Make sure you guys are fixing that. If you don't, then you do everything else in this recipe. You make those cookies perfect, but you leave the sugar out. What happens? You don't have cookies. You have this Jabba the Hutt looking piece of dough. Okay? You have really bad cookies. That's what happens. You got to follow the recipe. Number 2 is your appearance. Clean up your appearance. You don't have to be good looking, but you do have to take showers. El Topo notwithstanding. Sometimes. You do have to be well groomed. You do have to work on your fashion. Can you get away with it? Absolutely. But it's a lot harder. Why would you put roadblocks in front of yourself? Stack the deck in your favor. I look at this room, and this is actually pretty surprising, because the general fashion in this room is a whole lot better than what I'm used to. But even among this room, there are a lot of things that we can work on to maximize that. There are a lot of things that can make your journey a lot easier. Why would you go 10 years at this if you could knock it out in 5 years by tweaking fashion? It's the easiest thing to do, right? That's why you got to work on that appearance. And it's not just appearance for the girls. It's appearance for you. So when you walk out of the house, you say, I look good. You say, I look good for me. Not for these random girls out there. I have a girlfriend, and when I leave the house, I don't leave the house looking like crap. I don't leave the house in a wife beater and shorts. I don't leave the house dressed poorly. I don't leave the house embarrassed by the way I look. And I can't pick up, even if I do see the girl, I can't even do that without cheating. But it's for me. This is what it means to be attractive, to be men. Fix that appearance, absolutely critical. The next thing, what is your lifestyle like? What's your job, your friends, your housing, your hobbies, the people that you spend the most time with? There's a really weird statistic out there that's so accurate, it's eerie. It's the 5 or 6 people that you hang out with the most. Take their income and average it out. The average of their income has got like a 90% chance that that's your income. Which also means if you hang out with broke guys, guess what you are? If you hang out with unattractive guys, guess what you are? Birds of a feather flock together. Hang out with people that are successful. Hang out with winners. Hang out with people that have the skills that you want, that are doing the things that you want to do. And that's across the board, in money, in pickup, in lifestyle, everything. Analyze, what are your hobbies? If your hobbies are relegated to playing video games and jacking off, well, guess what? You better change that, because neither of those are going to help you. Find actual hobbies. Find a passion. Find things that you do outside of just picking up girls, outside of all the pickup stuff. Find things that you are passionate about. Find things that you genuinely like to do, and not just because girls think that's impressive. And I don't care if it's something geeky either. I don't care if it's something that you are absolutely I'm passionate about photography. And we all know Asian guy, camera photographer, not that sexy. It's not like Kung Fu guy, which I was, and now I like photography. But you know what? I'm passionate about it. It is an art form to it. You guys have been in this room. You've seen me take pictures. I've learned from Steve El Topo. He's one of the best photographers that I know. I've learned so much by hanging out with that guy, by learning from him. That is my passion. I talk about it. I always come up to him. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, can you show me this new thing? Can you show me how to do this? That's something I'm passionate about. You guys got to find those passions. You got to work on that area of your life. You got to develop that lifestyle. Okay, and the last thing are your basic skills. Your basic social and conversation skills. And it includes sexuality as well. Your basic tactical skills. If you don't have those, then life gets really difficult. If you don't know how to frame control, if you don't know how to handle shit tests, if you don't know how to get sexual, if you don't know how to kino, how to escalate, how to flirt with her, how to do push-pull, life gets really tough. So that's the fourth piece of the puzzle. Knock that out. Those are the 4 major factors. Those are the prerequisites before we get into the more detailed stuff. Make sure you guys knock that out. If you have, you're in a really good place. Okay, part 2, systematic sticking point elimination. Most guys that I found have no idea what their sticking points are. None, 0. They think, I have a hard time like getting sexual. How many sets are you approaching? Well, I don't really approach, but sometimes I'll talk to a girl at the supermarket and I want to pull her in the bathroom, but I don't know how to do that. Most guys have no idea what their sticking points are. And you know what? I don't even blame you, because very few people teach how to figure that out. No one's like, this is your step-by-step directions on how to figure out where your sticking points are. Everyone just expects you to know it. Those of you guys that have been around a while, remember 2005 when everyone just expected you to be funny? Everyone's like, yeah, just be funny. Okay, so next step. All right, so now we're going to get into disqualification. Everyone just expected you to have humor. You're just like, oh, same thing with confidence and dominance. Yeah, just be dominant. Yes, okay, we're going to get into push-pull now. That's exactly what this is now. Make sure that you guys are figuring out what you're sticking, even if you're bad at it, even if you have no idea what you're doing on sticking points. How many people have a list at home on their wall of their sticking points and they just cross them off as they go through them? How many have that list anywhere? How many have ever even created that list? One guy? This is what I'm talking about. That was me. I'm not up here telling you guys I'm holier than thou art. That was me. And someone had to shake me out of my reality and said, hey, if you want to get good, if you want these results, then you better be willing to do what's necessary. This is how we do sticking points. The first is we focus on problems, not symptoms. The second is that we identify the problems through the symptoms, exactly like a doctor would. Here's the easiest way to tell. Step 1, ask yourself how many sets you're opening. If it's anything less than 20, and you're not at a pretty advanced level where you're hooking a lot of your sets, then that's your first sticking point. Risk aversion. You've got to make sure that happens. Once you get past that, ask yourself, where do my sets end? Where are the vast majority? Just go out with a notepad. Every time a set blows up, write down exactly where it blew up. Where was I in this set when things went wrong, and what was the symptom that I experienced? Then count all of them up. Figure out where your sets end the most. Then take that point in the interaction. Take 1 to 2 steps back. That's where your problem is. Here's a live example. Okay? You're out, you open, you talk to a girl. After a few minutes, she has to go to the bathroom. You even sometimes make her laugh a little bit, but she has to go to the bathroom. That's right here. She has to go to the bathroom consistently. This is where my sets are ending. Why? Take 2 steps back.